What up, guys? Wicked Specialist, aka Real Geek here, doing the Superstar Shakeup for the 2019, the wrap-up show, the follow-up to my prediction video from last week. My prediction video was actually not entirely accurate because I wouldn't expect that. I'm not a psychic, not fully, but I'm not entirely wrong when it comes to my wrestling. I did get 4 out of the picks that I had correct. I said the Usos and AJ Styles were going to Raw. That happened. I also said Finn Balor was going to make his way over to SmackDown. That also happened. And my other pick, I'm counting it because if the Intercontinental title is on SmackDown with Finn Balor, then they didn't announce it, but by proxy, Raw has to have a lesser title to defend as well. So Samoa Joe should be making that transition over to Raw next week, I imagine. Probably starting that program with Braun Strowman. They teased last week on SmackDown. But that being said, the actual shakeup, as it were, was not what I predicted at all for the most part. For one, I predicted that Luke Harper was going to go over to Raw, and in fact, he is going over, but elsewhere, as he requested his release just today. Which is a damn shame. I've always been a fan of his. I saw him do a very good solo match against Bray Wyatt a couple years ago at a house show, and was always hoping for great things for that guy. They never had anything for him. They never did the work needed to get him to where he needed to be. Hopefully sometime away, maybe he can become a big star in New Japan, AEW. Once that happens, anything is possible. And maybe we'll see him back in WWE again at some point. But back to the actual shakeup at hand. First up on Raw, The Miz, now back on Monday nights. He had a fantastic entrance that really set the tone for this new Miz. Like, if you had not watched the show in a while and you hadn't seen what the Miz was up to, think I was just the same old. Oh, no. He came and went straight for Shane McMahon. He went hard. He came out. He had the blood on his head by the end of that. He bleeding. And that was a very exciting way to make your re-debut back on Raw. The same Miz that we saw the last time. This is going to be a different era for Miz, and I am excited to see where this goes. Next up, we got Andrade making his way over to Raw. He had a fantastic match with Finn Balor, and I am really hyped to see what happens with Andrade in the future. Still kind of mad that they shortened the name that they like to do from Andrade Cien Almas, because the Cien was part of the whole gimmick, because he's like perfect at what he does, 100%. And then just shortening it I don't know. Kind of dumb to me, but that's what WWE likes to do. That's what Vince likes to do. Shorten everybody's name. I'm waiting for Aleister Black to just become Aleister. Been waiting for that for weeks. It's going to happen at some point. It's going to happen. It's going to be Ricochet and Aleister before long, and they are also now officially on Raw. Officially members of the Raw roster. Up next, we had I didn't think they were going to get any other NXT call-ups because they've already called up a bunch of people from NXT and they haven't really used them thus far. But hey, we got another call-up. We got the War Raiders, or as they are called now, the Viking Experience. The dumbest tag team name ever. I haven't watched NXT really as of late, so I have no real judgment based on their fan. I just downloaded them in the video game not too long ago, 2K19. That's the only thing I really know them from is in that video game. But they are a fairly interesting team to play in the game. And here, I'm not sure how I feel about them yet. They had a pretty dominant win on Monday, but so did the Ascension. The Ascension also looked dominant when they came out. And where are they now? Last time I think I saw them was a Fashion File skit. We'll see what happens with them in the future. moving on with the Superstar Shakeup, Rey Mysterio now on Raw. That's pretty cool. Get some Rey Mysterio Andrade matches that should be fun. Rey Mysterio Lucha House Party. I don't know, is that still a thing? I haven't seen them do anything in a while. I hope not, because that was always kind of dumb. Naomi moving over to Raw as well. As WWE does like to keep married couples together. As she is married to Jimmy Uso, and so they like to keep them all together, and that's good. Zelina Vega, of course, coming along to Raw with Andrade. She's good. I want to see more intergender matches in WWE. They kind of hinted that a little bit with her as one of her techniques, if you're not familiar with her, from SmackDown or NXT, is she'll generally do a moonsault and flip the dude that Andrade is fighting while the ref is distracted, and that's pretty exciting. I want to see some more intergender matches. Lucha Underground has been doing it for a bit now, and they're super exciting to watch. I want to see more of that in the future. We've established, the women as to what they are now from what, they used to be, and that's the next step, I think. Just full intergender competition. It'll shake things up for sure, as it were. Let's see what else. Lacey Evans, also now officially a Raw roster member, and she had her first match, and now she is challenging for Becky Lynch's Raw Women's title after winning one match on Raw. Not entirely sure how I feel about this. She came out for months and just kind of waving, and then all of a sudden, bam! You just say, "Hey, I want a shot at the championship. Give it to me." And then, sure, here. You're now the number one contender. Okay, sure. She said that she wasn't. Sure, let's give it to her. And then they had the thing with Natalya on Monday, so she technically won a match and is now the number one contender, but it still feels very rushed to me. I hope it's just something just to challenge Becky and give her an opponent to fight next month at the pay-per-view, and then, we can move on from there. Lacey Evans, I like her. She's a good villain, but she's not... You don't just give somebody a title shot at their first jump out. Nah. No, you don't do that. Nope. Let's see what else on Raw. Cedric Alexander making his way over to Raw from 205 Live. They're breaking apart some of the cruiserweights, putting them back onto the roster. I've always been a Cedric Alexander fan. I really look forward to see what happens with this one. Super excited there. Okay, and that is pretty much it for Raw. As far as SmackDown goes, we had some women move over, which I didn't think was going to happen, but I guess the women's roster can still do crossovers, just that she has the Raw and women's SmackDown title. That doesn't mean that women are just bouncing over to whatever show. Sasha Banks is out of WWE, apparently. She has quit, has been upset with the company as of late, and is fed up, which I understand that. I get that people are talking online about how she's ungrateful and this, that, and the other thing. I don't see that. I understand the frustration, where she's coming from, and I hope we see her back in WWE at some point, but I get why she's done with the company as a whole. She has dreams. She wants to be a wrestling legend, and it's just not happening with what they're giving her. So, you gotta do what you gotta do to make those moves. I get that. I respect that. So, she's gone. Bayley is now on SmackDown as a solo competitor, and she is ready for some action. I sense a new era in Bayley here. She said she left the hug behind her on Raw, and I look forward to seeing what that new era of Bayley is. Also, moving over from Raw, Ember Moon. Always been a huge Ember Moon fan. I love her look. I love the moveset. She is awesome. And I can't wait to see what happens with her on SmackDown. They kind of dropped the ball with her, I felt, a little bit on Raw. But SmackDown's a new show, new era, time for some new things. Let's see what happens with her. Let's see. Kairi Sane also moving over to SmackDown from NXT. She's going to be in a tag team with Asuka, managed by Paige. That is really exciting. I really want to see where that goes. What happens with that team. That is some exciting news right there. Like the match they had tonight, and I want to see where this team goes in the future. Hyped to see about that. Lars Sullivan also making his way over to SmackDown officially after beating the crap out of people on both Raw and SmackDown for the past couple weeks now since WrestleMania. And then, let's see, in a surprise, Buddy Murphy from 205 Live also moving over to SmackDown. We'll see what happens with him. I don't really know too much about him other than the tag team that he had with, I can't remember, on NXT. You remember him, Murphy, and the other guy. They were good together. Haven't really watched 205 Live, so I can't really judge where his career has gone since then. But I hear good things, so we'll see where SmackDown can continue on with that. Up next, Elias moving over to Raw. Elias moving to SmackDown. That was really unexpected surprise. I kind of like that. Like Vince McMahon putting his stamp of approval on Elias, really giving him that heel, that you are the heel, you're going to be a top bad guy thing. And then, of course, Roman Reigns coming out, which we all kind of expected, with McMahon saying that he announced the biggest superstar in SmackDown Live history. We all kind of figured it would be Roman Reigns, and then it was, and we expected it, but I still like it anyway. I think it's a very good move. Roman Reigns has done just about all he can on Raw, so let's move over to SmackDown and give him some new competition, some new fresh blood. And then some of the ones that we are talking about that I just found out about, that moves that weren't mentioned on TV yet. Liv Morgan from the Riot Squad moving over to SmackDown. Not sure if that means the Riot Squad is no more, but we'll see in future episodes, I imagine. Future weeks to come. Chad Gable also moving over back to SmackDown again. Kind of interesting when they were just starting to build some steam here with this whole heel thing with Bobby Roode. But we'll see. Hey, it's a Superstar Shakeup for a reason. Things get shaken up. Apollo, I guess he's back to Apollo Crews now, I'm reading here. Alright, Apollo Crews moving back over to moving to SmackDown. Hasn't been there before, but I got pretty good things for him. I can see some good things happening in the future. Not main event things, but definitely a good minor card player, Apollo Crews is. And lastly, Mickie James moving over to the Blue brand, giving some of that veteran insight to the women roster on that show. And that is it for the shaking up things. Not a lot. Wasn't as groundbreaking, not as exciting as I was hoping it was going to be this year. Still pretty cool. I'm still intrigued, and I'm going to watch it from week to week to see what happens. But I was hoping for more shakeups, more the Raw, the Universal title on SmackDown, the WWE title on Raw, that type of thing, that type of shakeup. And it wasn't that. It was cool, definitely a solid B plus, I would say, but not as exciting as I was hoping. And the fucking Viking experience. Come on, guys. Come on, what's that? What's that? I really hope that name changes after they just got severely roasted all over Twitter, because it's so dumb. But that's what happened in the Superstar Shakeup this year, and that's my thoughts on it. What do you guys think? Do you actually like the Viking experience? Do you like where things got shaken up to this year? Let's put some comments. Let's talk some wrestling. Let's geek out here. Got my New Day shirt on because it is a new day. Yes, it is. And as always, my friends, stay geeky.